with you all today. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So my first topic that I want to discuss is mindset. Mindset in this business is, I think, the absolute most important thing that we have. Because the systems that we have in place, and you'll see those throughout today, and what you've probably already seen, all of that information, they've got another table that's going to be coming in the back that'll probably be perfect for you guys just coming in. But once you get the system nailed down, the system is a system, and the system's supposed to be easy to use, easy to believe in, see the results, all of those types of things. And when that happens, then what does it come down to that makes the people successful versus the people that are not successful in this business? It is simply your mindset. Because when you join this type of business, why are some Jimmy Johns successful and other Jimmy Johns not successful? Are they selling the same sandwich? Do they have the exact same potato chips, same cookies, same water, same restroom, same silly signs all over the place, same bread, same mayonnaise, same everything is a system. But some Jimmy Johns are going to work better than others. What's the difference? The people. The people are the difference. In this business, you are the difference maker. And so if you don't have your mindset, which is the only thing that's different between us, is our mindset. This doesn't, when you enrolled, did it ask what color you were? Did it ask how old you were? Male, female? If you're from Earth or Mars or anything like that? No? So the only difference is you and your mindset. That's why I start with this topic. Every training I do, I want to talk about mindset. So, a couple things that we're going to discuss is, for your mindset in this business, you have to have these 4 things or you don't go on your proverbial trip. First thing that you need is a desire. You all put down your hard-earned money, grabbed your credit card or debit card, went to a website, and you filled out your information, and most importantly, you sent them money, and you did all of that not because you were just sitting around going, you know what I'd like to do today is give some people up in Idaho a couple $100. That is not what your mindset was. Your mindset was, this could get me to where I want to go. If you're not crystal clear on where you want to go, you're going to have an issue. You got to know with clear intention, elevated emotion, where it is that you want to go. If you don't have both of those things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how great the system is, doesn't matter how great the products are, doesn't matter how great the company is. None of that matters if you don't have a desire. This is easily overlooked so often because, oh yeah, I want things. What are they? Can you get intentional about it? One of the best tests that you can give yourself is to ask yourself, why is that important to me? When you're trying to figure, I don't know what my desire is. Well, what do you want? Well, I don't know. But what do you want? Well, I want this. Why is that important to you? Well, I don't know. Ask it again. Why is that important to you? Keep doing that. Keep asking, why is that important to you, until you get to a point where a feeling comes out. It's usually one around the means of, it makes me feel good. We are driven by emotion. Human beings are driven by emotion. And if y'all are looking for some extra seats, we've got a couple spread out. I know we've got one up here. We got one between these 2 handsome gentlemen. I think we got one next to Joanne. Is that one open, Joanne?
There's no chair. They took the chair.
They took the chair. All right. So y'all got like 27 people on that one table. I just want y'all to spread out if you want to get comfortable. So if you're good, that's cool.
There's 2.
And then there's 2 next to Jeff, and he doesn't smell. I came up earlier to check on him. He smells good. Awesome. All right. So desire is everything. Ask yourself, why is that important? And do that until you get to a feeling. The next thing that you need is, you're going to need a vehicle. Now, you're going to see today that you've got the greatest vehicle that I've ever seen in the business world to be able to achieve your desires. Well, Casey, why has it got to be a business thing that's going to make me achieve my desires? The key to that is, most likely, whatever your desire is, money is going to be able to help the situation. Money is going to help you. Money is not what you're looking for. It's the thing that the money gets. Being able to give to a charity, being able to go on a mission trip, being able to have your time. Those are your desires, and this vehicle of Kiani is going to get you there. The next thing that you have to have is knowing how to fly the vehicle, right? If I said, let's go to Fiji, you said, cool, meet at the airport tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m., and we'll be able to take the Jade Factory jet. Stand by. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Good.
Okay, good. So let's say we're gonna take the Jade Factory jet in the morning, we get there, and I tell you, you're flying today. All of a sudden, you're not doing this business anymore, are you? And that happens to a lot of people, is that, yeah, it sounds good, Coyote's amazing, but do I know how to fly this airplane? Because there's a lot of buttons on this airplane. This Coyote thing looks kind of confusing. I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to say, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do, and when you get in your head, then you don't fly the airplane, because you're afraid you're gonna crash it. And when a confused mind is around, it says no. It sits down and it doesn't do anything. You ever get behind an out-of-town driver? When they're doing 40 on the freeway, because they're not quite sure what to do when they see 610 going 17 different directions? That's a confused mind saying no. That's what happens in this business. That's what happens with everything in someone's life. So what you got events where you're going to be able to learn what's necessary to be able to get out of your own head and get back towards your heart and to the desires of what it is that you want to be able to achieve. So we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to talk about the desires. We're going to talk about this vehicle that is Coyote. We're going to talk on how you fly this thing. And then, and I just found the air conditioning vent. I'm going to stay in here the rest of the day. That is so nice. And we're also going to talk about external resources, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. And here's why, because external resources are what you think you need to be successful. Well, if I had more of this, then I can do that. If you ever start coming up with an excuse, but Casey, you don't understand. My excuse is different. I have special circumstances that you're not aware of. When it all comes down to it, it's going to be, and you'll hear me say this all the time, and you're probably getting sick of it. That's okay, I'm gonna keep doing it. You have desires and you have excuses. Where do those fit in relation to each other? Those external resources, that's where your excuses come from. That's where excuses come from when people are thinking about this business. I don't have time to be able to do this. Or they'll come up and they'll say, I don't have this, that, or the other to be able to do this. Or I don't have the support of my spouse. Or I don't have enough money to be able. All those things come into, you feel that you don't have an external resource. What I want to get you to understand, if you hang out with me long enough, is that it's not about the external resources, it's about the internal resources, which is your mindset. Does this make sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right, poke your neighbor. All right, make sure they're awake. It's a little early. All right, good. So, we're gonna move on to making the shift in your mindset, because a lot of people struggle with this part. A lot of people get stuck in a common way of thinking that they've been programmed to think for a very long time. Who here works for somebody? All right. If that's the case, you exist over in that employee quadrant. All right, there's 4 spots to this. Employee is where most people start off at. When they're there, the goal is to get down there to the bottom right and be Warren Buffett. And you're just investing in, and you're sitting on a beach, and you got money rolling in, residual income, right? That's where most people think it exists. And those are typically the 2 different spots that they see where they're at, they see where they want to go. And then to get there, they think they have to be an entrepreneur to do so. It's a great path. But most people define entrepreneurship as just one thing, and that's when you go out and you start a business. Now, there's 2 different ways to start a business. There is doing it as a self-employed down in the S quadrant, or there's being a business owner in the top right quadrant. The differences between that would be, I use the Jimmy John's example a lot lately, I'll keep going with that. If you own a Jimmy John's, are you putting the mayonnaise on the bread? No, Casey, I'm not. That's your line.
No.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure you're all So that's being a business owner. You have systems and you have people that are putting the mayonnaise on the sandwich. Chances are right now you work for a business owner. You don't see that business owner all the time. Now, if you do see that business owner all the time, then you are an employee of a self-employed entrepreneur, or you are a self-employed entrepreneur. That's somebody that has a retail shop, they have some type of service, they do roofs, they do whatever it may be. But you're the person that has to be there. You're not working for somebody. If you want to eat at the end of the month, you have to go out and actually shoot something and kill it and bring it home and cook it, all right? It's not just handed to you. You have to go out and make it happen. You have to make the sale. Somebody's got to give you money for something that you're offering, all right? And when they do that and that check comes into your bank account, if you're the one writing and signing the checks, if you're signing the front of the check, a lot of times you are the self-employed person, all right? If you're the person that's signing the back of it, then a good chance that you're the employee side of the equation. All right? But I want to identify to you that there's a big difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. Being self-employed is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Here's some of the numbers on how that works. Who here's heard the term time equals money? All right. That has been beat into us for a very long time. And that's why when you go to a business and you work for somebody, they pay you based on how many hours you give them and whatever it is you're going to be doing in the middle of that. And so when people start this business, they get it in their head that if they want to make big money, they got to spend big amounts of time. And that is a fallacy. That is a fallacy that continues on into the self-employed, where you look at this and it's like, you know, if I have my own business, I'm probably going to have to work twice as hard, right, Michelle? Yes. And if I do that, hopefully I'm going to make 1.5 times or more what I was making as an employee. And that, for the freedom to come along with that, is worth it to a lot of people. My parents were that way. My dad, oh, he is a hoot and a half man. I tell you, he's not going to have anybody tell him what to do. I don't know where I got that from. And so it's worth giving that effort for the freedom. Even if you can make the same amount of money, if you work twice as hard, to have that freedom, do it is great. But the problem is the freedom thing isn't really freedom from being able to go do what you want. It's freedom from being told what to do. But you still have to do what the customer tells you. Some people argue with me about that at my own store sometimes, and I tell them they can leave. But when it's all said and done, that's how that equation works. What you're looking to get to, most people, once they see this and understand it, is you want to get to the business owner side, and that's where you have systems plus people, and when you do that, you're going to start making some bigger money. For example, Jimmy John's. You go out and buy yourself a Jimmy John's. Then after that, you're going to have some people that are putting the mayonnaise on the sandwich, right? You sell a Jimmy John's sandwich for $10. If you made $1, you'd make 10%. You're probably not going to make that much. Let's say you made 1%. Now you're making 10 cents. If you made that much money, that's not a whole lot of money. But what if you could have a whole bunch of sandwiches going through the shop? What if you could get that volume scooting through there very rapidly? Maybe you're not making as much per sandwich, but you have a whole bunch of people in your organization working there with you, and if that's able to happen, great. Now you're making a little bit off a whole lot of effort. Everybody get the idea? Now, what's great about that is when you get, there's only so much sandwiches you're going to have. So many people are going to walk through that door at that Jimmy John's, right? Per that location. So if you want to have more sandwiches going through, you need to have another location. You know how much it is to get a Jimmy John's started? Anybody? A lot. That's right. Good answer. Good answer. $400,000 to get your Jimmy John's started. And that's just to get it started. That's not operating costs. Because guess what happens when you have a whole bunch of people making sandwiches freaky fast? You got a lot of labor. You got a lot of overhead. You got a lot for rent. You got a lot for insurance. You got a lot for supplies. You got to have a whole bunch of those tubs of mayonnaise sitting at the top, and those aren't inexpensive. All right, you got to have somebody delivering these things freaky fast, so now you've got more insurance and more risk. All these things come into play. But if you have systems in place that will take that risk away from you, now you've got something that's very powerful. If you want more of it, you got to go open up another $400,000 location. Interesting, huh? When you're doing that, you might not be the one that's there, but you're still checking in on your business from time to time. You're going out looking at being able to set up the next location. Is anybody catching on how this might sound very similar to a model that has been introduced to you called Kayani?
Yes.
When you go out there, does it cost you anything to open up a new location? A little time, maybe a little chat with somebody. What if there was a system designed where all you had to do is have a talk with somebody and pass them on to somebody that knows what they're doing? And next thing you know, you've got a new Jimmy John's opening up in Sugar Land. And then after that, you got a couple more Jimmy John's open up in Sugar Land, and now we're getting ready to have a Jimmy John's takeover of Sugar Land. And how did all of that start? By a little conversation online. Isn't that interesting? So that's the power of what we have here from the business owner side. Now, when you get started, a lot of people will start off with their own sandwich shop, and then they will put in systems. They will have those systems show up. There's going to be some work you're going to have to do in the beginning, without a doubt. The more of that work you can do, the faster it's going to go. But after you get that moving, it's designed so that you don't have to be there making sandwiches for the rest of your life. You make them for a little bit. This system is designed where you don't have to be there constantly making those sandwiches. Is this resonating with everybody?
Yes.
This is the mindset shift that I need you to get into. No one's calling anybody up that owns a Jimmy John's and says, hey, have you gone out and made any sandwiches? They don't get that phone call, do they? They don't have some person checking in with them saying, hey, are you gonna sell some of those cookies today? No. What happens? They go out and do it, or they don't do it. If they don't, they falter. That's a lot how this is, but what's interesting is you got a lot of people here that are supporting you based on our system. It's not just you. You are in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself with this organization. That's a powerful part of what we do, because it's not easy doing something for a long time over and again, and then just all of a sudden, boom, I'm gonna be over here, and boom, I'm gonna be over here. A lot of times what happens is you fall back into your old habits, don't you?
Yes.
Why is that? Because we're human, and it's our mindset. And so that's why we talk about this, is making this shift of getting yourself out of this mindset and start thinking over here. All right? And what happens is when you start thinking over here, then you're gonna get crazy and start thinking over here. Then you start thinking, what am I gonna do with all this money that's coming in from my Jimmy John sandwiches? Maybe I'll go buy an apartment complex. Maybe I'll have my money make me more money. That's pretty cool, isn't it? To do that, guess what? You gotta have money. Where do you get that? You have to have a business. Where do you get that business? Doing it here or doing it here? You wanna do it here. That's why you got this vehicle. Everybody seeing the progression of where I'm leading? All right, so let's jump into here. A lot of people look at this and say, Casey, I think your slides are broken. What the hell is that? All right, so this is your mind in about the most simplest crayon, kindergarten, stick and dirt example I can give you. So here you are, walking through the woods, getting ready to come up on a trail. And at this point, there's a trailhead. You can go out into the wilderness where there's no path, or you can go along that same paved path that takes you over by that little road, and then there you see the little cat over there that meets you all the time, and then there's a little lake and a pond, and you just keep on taking that same one every single time. These are your thoughts. You have 70 to 90,000 of these thoughts per day. That's a lot. You're like, I don't believe you. Whoever just said that in their head, those are your thoughts. Just so you are clear. Yeah, a bunch of those. All right? Now, when you get to this little intersection, you have an option of what you're gonna do each day. You can go do the same thing over and again, or you can go do something and be conscious about it and be different. Who here has ever, maybe driving here today, did anybody zone out at any point driving over here? Yeah? Yeah. Now, it was someplace new, so a lot of you were paying attention, you're hyper aware, looking at what's going on, and you got here because this was a different place to go. But if you're just looking at your GPS, you're just like, some lady tells me where to turn and I just listen to her, right? So if you're going to the same place every day though, have you ever teleported from your house to that place? Typically your job?
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, how did I get here? How did I not run? Did I run over a whole family of squirrels? What happened? I don't know, but I'm here. How did that happen? Here's how it happened, is that when you do something often enough, the human mind is pretty incredible, and it's very efficient. What it's going to do is it's going to groove in a neural pathway in your brain, if you do it long enough. If you've ever played a sport, if you've done it over and over again, first time you did it, you look kind of goofy doing whatever it is that you were doing. If you do it about 10,000 hours, you're actually world class, and somewhere in between, you're getting better along the way. So let me explain that to you with a real good example to get you guys away. What I want you to do is I want you to visualize your toothbrush sitting in front of you on the table. All right, everybody see their toothbrush? Look down at it, you see it there? All right, toothpaste is in the other spot right next door to it. I want you to pick up your toothbrush with the hand that you pick up your toothbrush with. Everybody do this for me. Pick it up, hold it in the air. All right, now grab with your other hand, grab the toothpaste. All right, now squeeze it on there. All right, put the toothpaste down, and then start brushing your teeth. This is so cool watching y'all do that. That's so much fun. It's my favorite part of the whole day. Now, here's what I want you to do. All right, do it again so Michelle can record y'all brushing your teeth. All right, very good. Now, here's what I want you to really do. I hear somebody buzzing. That's pretty good. I like that. Now, what I want you to do is put your toothbrush down, pick it up with your other hand. Now, start brushing your teeth. Now, does that feel weird?
Yeah.
Is that not stupid that you're holding an imaginary toothbrush and it feels weird that you're trying to brush your teeth with it? I really enjoyed that. I got y'all to do it a second time. That's great. So I'm doing that to prove a point to you is that you just implemented the toothbrush program that is buried in your brain. 95% of your day is ran by programs. You have a program for everything. By the time you're 35 years old, 95% of what you do each day is the same way that you always do it. And you've got a lot of programs. You've got a driving program. That's the one that's how you can teleport somehow. Remember when you were first trying to learn to drive? It was not a program. 10 and 2, hyper aware, you knew where everything was. You turned the radio down so that you could focus on driving. Now, is that not ridiculous? Y'all done that before. Where am I going? Let me turn the radio down. It's kind of weird, right? Why? Because you are hyper aware of what's going on and you want to make sure you don't do it wrong. All right? And when we make sure that we don't want to do it wrong, that's when people stop moving. Well, that's too hard, that's weird, that's uncomfortable, I don't want to do it. This business and anything new in your life will fall in that category if you are not aware of that. You have to become aware of your thoughts. You have to be clear that when you're going right here on that intersection, you have to be conscious of, am I executing this program or am I gonna go do something different? Because here's what I promise you, if you keep doing the exact same thing, you're gonna get the same result. You just did it with a toothbrush. You're doing it with your life. You're doing it with everything, unless you have a desire that says, my desire is somewhere over here. I gotta do something different to get there. That's all it comes down to, folks. If your business isn't where you want it, you're over here doing the same damn thing and getting frustrated. Why does this work for me? Because you finally got on to, at first you're gonna blame it on the system, you're gonna blame it on the company, you're gonna blame it on everything in the entire business. You're gonna blame it on all the external things. And then one day you catch on and say, whoa, wait a second, that's all the same. Maybe it's the guy in the mirror looking at me. And then you gotta break it down one step further and say, you know, if I keep going over here, I'm gonna keep driving a little rut in that same path over and again. Or I'm gonna do something different. That's why you're over here. When you got up this morning, was there a little pep in your step? Were you getting ready to do something different than you normally do? Absolutely, right? Anybody have a little trouble sleeping last night besides the presenters? The reason for that is you're getting ready to go do something new. Your body's primed, you're charged up. Hey, this is something different. This is fun. We're brushing our teeth with our other hand. Tonight, your homework, write this down. Brush your teeth with your other hand tonight. All right? I want y'all to think about that tonight. Make that be something new. Make a conscious decision, a choice, left or right, go right. Brush your teeth, you will feel so goofy, it's so much fun. Start doing that, start doing things different. Be conscious of that, and the way that you get better of this is you simply become aware of it. Otherwise, you're running on autopilot. You guys are asleep at the wheel. Most of humanity is asleep at the wheel. They have an external event occur, and they run a program to be able to respond to that. Somebody cuts you off, you do this, right? Or this, right? And you know you do it, whoever does it, you know y'all do that until you become aware and say, that might not be a good choice of what I'm doing, running around this track again. Maybe I want to do things a little different today. You've got 80,000 chances of making better choices every single day. Are you going to win all of those starting right now? No, you are not. Inertia is tough. It keeps you on the same path. You're over here trying to go, and then the next thing you know, you jump back over on this path again. Dang it! Now you can sit there and be upset about it for the rest of the day. Some people do that, and they've been doing that for about 9 years. What happened? I had a bad day. When? 9 years ago. Some of you have gone through maybe a relationship didn't work out. Maybe you've had some issues where things didn't go exactly where you wanted them to. Maybe a business thing didn't happen how it should have happened. You're still talking about it. It's still affecting you. Why? Because you're letting it. Casey, you don't understand. It's so comfortable being pissed off over here. It's your video game. It's your quarter. You play Pac-Man however you want to. But if it's not serving you, if you're not enjoying it, play it differently. Y'all are playing it differently for being here today. Give yourselves a hand for making the effort to be here. Because when you're over here on this one, you're reactive. But what I want you to do is pull that little C out right there, and I want you to see the world a little differently. And when you do, and you start doing things a little different, next thing you know, you move that C over to the beginning, and it becomes creative. Isn't that cool? So you can be reactive, or you can be creative. I highly suggest you be creative. If you exist over there, it's a whole lot more fun. A whole lot more fun. A whole lot more impactful. A whole lot different than what you've been getting, and that's the whole point. That's why you have a desire. You have where you're at, and you have the gap in between there and where you want to be. Get over to where you want to be. All right? So, how do you get there? Personal development is one of the quickest ways to be able to get there. Why do we push personal development so much? Why is there a system for personal development? Did y'all know there's a system for personal development?
Yes. Yes.
Look at the Jade Factory Facebook page, you will see it there. Make sure you look at that. The events you attend, come to things like this, the people that you're gonna meet, the books you're gonna read. And speaking of books, there happens to be an absolute amazing one there. We've got ourselves our very own published author in the room, and he will be able to tell you all of that through book form. You can grab those out there too, by the way. You got Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Becoming Supernatural is one of my favorite books right now. Definitely check into that. And then GoPro. These are all different personal development books that you can get to. All right? All of these are out on that list. All of these slides will be made available to you, so don't worry about trying to scribble really, really fast.
Thank you.
Write down what you want to write down. So, with that, I want to bring up our next speakers. These two are an absolute awesome dynamic duo. They're always together. They're always talking with each other. They're probably two of the sweetest people that we have on the team, and they're the ones that care, I think, maybe the most. It's a close call. There's a lot of you at the top of that list, but these two are two of the best. So please help me welcome, for them to talk about vision boards and how to be able to do this, our Pearl, Miss Claire Rincon, and our Jade, Miss Michelle